Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Join me today with some special guests. We have the guys from the War Against Time. How y'all doing today?
What's going on, y'all? How's it going? Doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. And can you introduce your names to the audience?
Yeah, I'm Joey, and this is Ian. Ian, nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you all. And what's your roles in the group? I guess is it just you two, or do you guys have other members of the group?
We are a five-piece. Joey and I are mostly the, I guess, what do you say? Maybe the
brainchild.
The brainchild, maybe like the band leaders. But yeah, I mean, Joey, go ahead.
So I do all of the screaming vocals. I do some of the singing, and recording wise, I do all the guitar parts as well. So it kind of was just the two of us for kind of a hot minute, and we recently started getting other people. So as we've been recording, like the album that we're doing this year, it's kind of just been us, though we're trying to slowly integrate everybody else into the mix as we go through the production of this upcoming album that we're dropping this year. And then as far as Ian goes, he does.
So I do pretty much like 90% of the clean singing. When it comes to recording, I do the drums. In a live setting, I'm like the keyboardist / DJ. Like I trigger all those samples and synths. And then I don't know if Joey kind of touched on, like him and I are the kind of the main songwriters. And so that's kind of like our role in the band as well. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I was gonna say you're the driving force of the group.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You point them towards the promised land, as we like to say.
That's right. That's right, Brian.
Right. That's so cool. And I guess which part of Texas are you hailing from?
The Austin area. So we're from Georgetown, but it's just north of Austin.
Yeah, it's a little suburb. You have Austin, then the metropolitan area, goes out, and there's a town called Pflugerville, then Round Rock, then Georgetown. So that's where we originated, and but now we're in another suburb. We're in Georgetown, and we're in Hutto as well. So we're just kind of in the Austin area. So yeah.
One of many suburbs of the big city of Austin.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I know what you mean too. I'm actually from the Pittsburgh region in PA.
So, nice.
So it's kind of the same scenario too. We're part of a suburb of the big Pittsburgh area.
Yeah.
Even though on the address we'll use like a different city name. So I can see what you mean. So,
my mom's side of the family is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So that's cool.
I guess they still Steeler fans, got the terrible towels and all that.
Yeah, Steeler fans. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Actually, I'm curious what they're going to do this year because they already did a good number of signings with Fields, Russell Wilson, got that Patrick Queen. I'm actually kind of curious to see how this is going to turn out. So hopefully it's not a
hopefully it's something notable, exciting. So yeah.
Yep, that's for sure. So I guess how you guys been? What's new?
Oh, we're doing all right. We've been digging into this new album cycle, and we have it's on the wall over here in the studio. So this is one of our studios. We have this big calendar. It's the big ass calendar. I hope I can say that. Well, it's big A ###. And we have the whole year mapped out. And it's basically every month we are working on a new song, finishing up recording, and then sending it off. And so yeah, we've just been busy beavers, with our day job, and then getting everything recorded and written and whatnot. So, but yeah, and
yeah. I mean, that's about it. That's all we've really been doing is just working and recording pretty much nonstop. So it's a good time, but it is a little bit meticulous and monotonous. But
yeah, that kind of
the end result will outweigh
all the hard work and everything too that we put into it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So
I was waiting to pause. I thought he was going to finish the sentence. So
no, you're good.
But you're all good too. You'll get to elaborate more on your music in just a moment here too. But Joey and Ian, I want to welcome you guys to my podcast right here. And the way it's going to work is I'm just going to ask you guys some questions. And it's get to know you guys both as the musicians, but also as the individuals as well too. So you all ready?
Yeah, 100%
let's
Brian.
go.
Absolutely, brother.
I know me some Southern dialect too, so you'll probably see me do it from here.
I know y'all.
Actually, from us, I know all Yins from the Pittsburgh dialect too. So.
Yes.
Yinzers, all those Yinzers. Okay. All right. But anyway, so I guess however you guys want to break this up too. So I guess Joey or Ian, however you want to break it up. I guess who are you guys and how did you guys become musicians?
Well, I guess. So you started it.
Yeah. So who is the War Against Time? Way back, I think it was Christmas 2008. I got gifted a double bass pedal for Christmas, and I was like, okay, I want to start like a metal band. I want to do double bass, and so there's this band, this math rock band, The Fall of Troy, who I always heard about how they got their band name from a literature textbook or a history textbook. And I can't remember if it was before I left for Christmas break, 2008, or when I came back in January 2009. It was somewhere right there in that winter period when I was in high school. I was sitting in a literature class, and I told my buddy Kevin, I said, hey, just like The Fall of Troy, I'm going to open up this literature textbook, and whatever page I turn it to is going to be the name of my band that I'm starting. And I immediately opened it up, and it was like halfway through the book. It said Section 2, The War Against Time. And I was just like, and then I saw the acronym TWAT. And I was like, that's it. And that day, I think I made a MySpace. I even uploaded a video of myself just playing the drums in my mom's garage. You know, just like the audio quality is like horrible. Just and so for like one day, it was just me with a video on MySpace, and then I asked a friend of mine, and then my brother, and then another guy, and then years later, I guess just a year and a half later,
Yeah.
June of 2010.
Yeah.
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 Joey.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a classic late 2000s deathcore style, and then so actually the original guitarist was my buddy Seth. He was one of my first friends from like first grade that we had met over at the elementary over here in Georgetown, and that was the original guitarist. He ended up leaving the band, and the summer after I graduated for high school or whatever, I wanted to start a band, and I asked him, and we kind of just reprised the mantle and reinvented the War Against Time, if you will.
Yeah.
And so then it became this slightly more melodic, more progressive, metalcore-y type situation. And we've kind of just taken it and ran with it. But we definitely do odes to the old stuff for sure. One of our latest singles that we dropped, not the last one, but the one before that, called Indignation. You can check it out on Spotify and everything. But that is an old school song from that 2009 era, from before I was in the band.
Yeah. So straight up band, 2009 deathcore. Yeah, real just heavy to the point. Yeah. So
We went through a deathcore phase, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
Actually, I was kind of the same way because I think it was during high school before I started getting into like death metal and like all the other sort of subgenres of the metal. So I'd say I was into like the Suicide Silence.
Yeah.
Those ones, yeah.
What do you listen to right now, Brian?
Actually, recently, I'd say in terms of progressive, it'd be more like Between the Buried and Me, a little bit of Dream Theater.
Okay.
Dream Theater. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm a huge Dream Theater fan. Actually, here, grab that. Yeah. Our MJ has a Music Man, so yeah, Dream Theater fans for sure. The true cheat.
Look at that. Trying to see if we can get it. Is it actually signed by?
No, it's just the decal.
It's just the decal. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. All right.
But yeah, big Dream Theater fans for sure.
Dream Theater fans for sure. Right here.
That's pretty cool. So I guess actually I didn't realize it too. But each one of the initials it actually does twat for some reason.
Twat.
TWAT.
Yeah. A lot of our fans know us by twat. Like, they're like, when is twat gonna drop again? When is twat? Et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not sure if I can just riff. I know this is we have questions, but speaking of that, so there is another no hate to other musicians. There is another person who named themselves the War Against Time, and it's added some confusion with because we've been a band since 2009, and we've played shows, and we have written compositions via Guitar Pro and things like that. And we at least in our little sphere, we've been a band, and we were recording our first album like in 2000. We were wrapping up writing in like 2018, 2019. And then when COVID happened, it kind of really halted a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so in 2020, we were the War Against Time. Our Facebook, our MySpace, which we can't even find anymore, but like our Facebook still has the date, 2009. And no Instagram pages. When we came back together after COVID, suddenly there was this the War Against Time, who inconveniently just popped up. And no hate to the other War Against Time. I believe it's only one gentleman from Greenville, South Carolina, makes like some kind of progressive rock kind of stuff. And we've tried to get in contact with this other the War Against Time to try to figure something out, because like for instance, Apple Music put our album under this the War Against Time for like a small period of time.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of confusion, and if we just had communication, there'd be no confusion. And so maybe your podcast, maybe this message gets out to the War Against Time, and we mean no hate, and maybe the world is big enough for the War Against Times, but we'll see. So anyway, I digress.
No, you're good.
That's Brian.
No, you're good. Actually, I was just thinking like this world ain't big enough for the two of us, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
All right, put them up. No, we got 2 against 1. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna double team them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, good though. Actually, it would be interesting if I would be able to find him, but I'm not too sure if he's like in our Bandicator group, or any of the groups on Facebook for that matter too. But I know you did bring up a good bit right there. So I guess before we get into like COVID and some of the other stuff there, I guess how would you guys describe the War Against Time? Because it seemed like you can't do like a blend of the deathcore and progressive. I guess how would you describe this genre?
Well, so we genre blend a lot of stuff. So I guess kind of at the heart of it is very rock and roll, very progressive and metalcore. But we definitely delve into, at least on this album and moving forward, a lot of different kind of genre blending stuff. Like for instance, August Burns Red, they've got, like surf rock sections and stuff like that, where we're implementing different things. So like not this album, but the next album, there's a song that has a bossa nova section.
Yeah.
So we're not really keeping ourselves in the box. And I think by doing that, we not only still retain our sound, but we also are able to kind of dig deeper into what we could be. And I mean, when you listen to a band that it's just the same stuff every album for 5 albums, there's only so much you can do with like deathcore stuff, for instance, where it's just, blast beats, this and that. I think by breaking the mold and being able to do everything that's melodic, super heavy, screaming, singing, and kind of form it all together, I think it makes it so much more of an impact when you listen to an album front to back within its entirety. I think it gives it just so much more dynamic and oomph, if you will.
Yeah, 100%. Like, so like our sound, it's like we're definitely like Joe was saying, like rock and roll. Like we want to like kind of just like the embodiment of like we want to have what our shows. Like, we want people to have fun. It's a rock concert. It's not like, not like someone's gonna stand there like with their arms crossed and like, oh, that guy's so technical. Like, no. We're here to have fun. And and so like he's saying, like our sound has become like you never even know what you're gonna get. I mean, it's like at the heart of it is like progressive metalcore, progressive rock, and then every song there's like a different little blend or splash of on our most recent single, Initiate Thumps, it kind of has Japanese sounding things with like a little and then in the middle of the song there's like this weird like 1980s kind of Van Halen Unchained, like
it's got that David Lee Roth type stuff going on.
We're real and then with the progressive aspect, we're talking about Dream Theater and these other progressive bands, we will experiment with like odd timing in like the verses and in bridges, but we're really focused on big, powerful choruses. Like in again, the most recent song, Initiate Thumps, the verses are in 15/8 time, and then the choruses are in 4/4 because like everyone's used to it's like, so we can be progressive in our 15/8, and then we're in 4/4. It's so much fun. We really enjoy our sound. So we're our biggest fans.
You're also your greatest enemy too, if you're your greatest critic as well.
You have no idea.
I can imagine too. But you are right about the deathcore, because there was always the repetitive thing too, because it was always like a specific breakdown. They might have done it differently. I think the problem was, I remember Chelsea Grin. I think they got like an 8-string guitar, and all they did was like just strum the lowest string with just open.
Yeah, do a 1-0 or something for some missing in.
That's getting old after a while too, so that's why we transition into the death metal, where we get a little bit more technical and everything.
Most definitely.
But I guess out of all the bands, that we had mentioned so far, who would you say has been your biggest influence, both in terms of like the bands you've been a part of, and I guess currently with the War Against Time?
Well,
biggest influence artists.
So I mean, for me personally, I mean, back in like the 2010 era, whenever I ended up joining, I really wanted to be like August Burns Red. And so that had a big influence on me. Them, Parkway Drive. I was really big into Whitechapel. I think recently, over the last like half decade, Veil Maya has really kind of taken it up a notch on their creativity and songwriting. And I think that's really been a huge impact for us within the most recent years, as far as influences go.
Most definitely. Like I'd say, and Joey personally, so like August Burns Red, and then Eddie Van Halen himself.
Yeah, I mean, Van Halen always and forever will be my favorite band of all time.
Yeah, like
I have a 1984 Kramer Van Halen replica guitar. That's my pride and joy. I love it. Straight out the 5150 album from 1986.
And then me personally. Joey mentioned, so it was the Veil of Maya's 2017 album, False Idol, which Joey and I really connected over. We listened to that album front to back, repeat for 2 years, dozens and dozens of times. And so a lot of the riffs and songwriting structures on that album really kind of changed, like just kind of did help mold towards where we're going. So I'd say kind of skeletal wise, song structure wise, and then as far as like my own personal influences, I listen to a lot of electronic music. One of my most favorite artists of all time is the Australian producer Flume. I have so much respect for him. He's just absolutely amazing. And then I'm into weird experimental things like there was the Scottish producer. She's a big. Her name was Sophie. She tragically passed away in 2021, and she made really bizarre, experimental, like avant-garde, like crazy industrial sounds, and so she's a big influence of mine. And then I listen to a lot of like R&B and pop, and then I'm a big fan of like European hard style, that like bang 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 bang. Like I'm all over the place. But then when it comes to like metal and rock, I like Spirit Box, and then big band of contention recently, Sleep Token. Like a lot of people on the internet, you either do or you don't. And
the baby making metal.
yeah. And then Bring Me the Horizon, huge influence. And then and then like the 2010s, like metalcore, like big fan of Parkway Drive. And then so my taste is like kind of all over the place. At the core of it, though, I like aggressive, loud music. It can be metal, it can be rap, it can be electronic. I like fast, aggressive music, and it has to be fun as well, though. So that's where I'm at.
I think you both mentioned Parkway Drive. Were you really big into the Horizons album?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Most definitely, yeah.
I mean, so back in the day, we were doing a cover of Carry On for a while. I mean, that's the pinnacle. They never don't play that, you know.
No.
Actually, yeah. You know what? I had to apologize to that one because I used to get into like more of the later songs. It was like from Idols and Acres. That's actually how I found out about Parkway Drive.
Oh man, Idols and Acres, was that? Yeah, that was off of Horizons.
It was, yeah.
That was off Horizons. Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if that was off of Killing with a Smile. No.
They morphed into a little bit more like arena rock anthem style, but I mean they still go really hard for sure.
Yeah, and I love how big they like their success. I mean they, because it's like an artist evolves, that you can't always be making the same thing as you get older and older.
Horizons for 6 albums would not be the best.
Yeah, and I mean their career. I mean they're huge. I mean they're in 20 years from now. I mean they will be remembered. I mean it's like like the big Parkway, it's like Parkway Drive. It's like that level. Like they reached the highest caliber.
I mean, they're getting up there to I would say like Killswitch Engage level. Like they're huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't say getting close to kind of Metallica status. I mean,
I don't know about that.
I don't know. You say like the old Metallica or the new Metallica?
Yeah, that's a great.
Because if we're saying a new one, I'm not too sure about that one because I think I might have to question you on that. Actually, I remember this. Actually, the self-titled song "Horizons" just kind of brought me into it because, especially when I got near the ending too, you hear like the whole thing with the guitars just playing in the background right there. So, still a killer album to this day.
Yeah,
and I forget which one it was. It was like "We're Born with Nothing and You'll Die Alone." It was like I forget which one that was, but that was another one.
Oh yes, I know it's somewhere on Horizons. Yeah, no, that's a banger.
Actually, I don't think it was Horizons. I think it was a different one. So, regardless, too, still Parkway Drive is still a killer song nonetheless. So, I guess I know you guys had mentioned COVID earlier too. So I guess let's go ahead and jump into that one. So I guess how bad did COVID impact you, your family, and music wise?
Yeah. So. Yeah, it definitely actually like really kind of thwarted our recording of our first album, and it also created the issue of having the War Against Times, because in a perfect world, if COVID wouldn't have happened, we probably would have finished recording, had our officially been on Spotify and Apple Music and everything. And because we were recording our album, or I'll try to focus here. So technically, we've been writing our album. We're writing our first album for technically 10 years.
Yeah,
because
on and off.
We all went to college and did our own things, and then 2018 is really when we got real
locked back in,
super serious about finishing it. We're writing, then we're recording in 2019. 2020 happens. And then we're starting to hear about this, this virus, And so then basically COVID happened, and our recording like slowed down because we're not we're not working, and like not making as much money as we were, and like trying to spend time with like it's like pretty serious world event going on. We're trying to spend time with our families and make sure everyone's okay. And then simultaneously, my grandmother at the time, I moved her across the country right in the middle of COVID, and so I was gone for like 2 weeks, and I mean, just that 2020 was so up and down, and then so many things were different by the time like when we're back together, and yeah, we kind of got discouraged from COVID, and it wasn't until about 2 years later that we came back to finish the first album, and when we came back, we learned that there was the war against time in that time. So COVID extremely negatively impacted being able to find us specifically on the internet without confusion. So
yeah, I mean, aside from all that, like we weren't really playing shows or anything at the time either because we were recording. So like it didn't have like a a tour style effect to us where it's like, oh, we got to cancel tour dates and stop all that stuff. So we didn't really have that side of it. It was really just all like kind of studio wise.
yeah,
Where it was like things came to a halt. But I mean, other than that, like it wasn't, we didn't have to cancel half of a tour and figure out what we're gonna do for the rest of the year or whatever. So we still had day jobs, like so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, there were definitely effects.
most definitely. Yeah.
I was say, was your family okay there, Joey?
Yeah, my family was good. Yeah, I didn't really have anything going on like as far as like I mean I'm pretty sure my dad and mom both got COVID at some point separately from each other, but I mean nobody was affected in the disasterful way that I know a lot of families were affected by COVID. So
I guess, did you guys also get COVID at some points too?
Yes. Yeah.
I actually did not. I have still been COVID free. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. I think I got it twice. Yeah. And so that was, and what's weird is I think I got it way earlier. I got it in January of 2020. It really
like the beginning of it.
It really wasn't until March when so I don't know. I mean, maybe because I remember losing my sense of taste and smell in January of 20. Like I got super, super sick, and I had no idea, like, because we heard about it, overseas, and I remember getting so sick, and then my favorite snack at the time was garden salsa sun chips, and I tried eating one, and it tasted like I couldn't taste anything. And I'm like, what is going on? And then, yeah, right. Yeah.
It was the no curse you, COVID.
And then I heard about how a symptom is losing your sense of taste and smell. And so I thought, shoot, I mean, I don't know if somehow I got it like 2 months early. And then it wasn't until like a year and a half later that I got it again. And so.
You can never be too careful. In fact, the funny thing that happened to me was me and my parents, we actually went to Nashville in 22, and sure enough, it happened to be like the week of Halloween, so it was a little bit cooler down in Nashville. But regardless, still a hell of a nice trip. But we bar hopping on Broadway, someone's bound to at least carry something. So
yeah.
So, unfortunately, I got it too, and I actually.
A friend named Doug, he's gotten COVID like 4 or 5 times. It was kind of comical, like, oh, you have it again, dude?
Apparently COVID is his new bitch or something like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Something like that. But I guess you guys are okay. No losses or anything too.
Yeah. We're doing we're doing just fine since all that. So
all right, that's good to hear. Good to have you guys along for the ride. So.
Absolutely, sure.
But I guess and this is kind of going off script right here, I guess. How is the scene in Austin? I guess ever since COVID happened too, is it starting to rebuild? Or I guess how bad did it get impacted?
I feel like initially it was kind of a stark contrast halt, but I mean, things went back to being hustling and bustling pretty quick. I feel like nothing's really different. Like now, as far as like the scene goes, like everybody's still everywhere all the time.
Yeah,
Like it's
and like definitely, I'd say shows fully bounce back. Like really quick.
yeah, like as soon as they opened it up, it was like, let's go to shows now.
Um, yeah, and then especially like our local scene, like shout out, Hopeful, Living Hollow, Dogma, and Chernobyl the Secret, like kind of bands that we've met and we know of, like here locally.
Yeah, our local boys.
Yeah, and they're all definitely like doing great. I mean, playing shows. I mean, like building followings, and yeah. I mean, they're doing the dang thing. So
They're doing the thing. So that's all
yeah.
That's good to hear. So, and actually, I've not been to Austin, but I do. A family member of mine's actually living there right now. So I guess for anyone who wants to visit, I guess where's the place to go?
Yeah. So
There's so many.
okay. So you gotta check out. So the 360 bridge is like a really like iconic.
Batcave.
Yeah. I mean, like people.
There's the Bat Bridge.
There's
downtown Austin.
there's the Bat Bridge in downtown Austin, and then the 360 bridge. Like a good friend of mine, he's from India. He was showing me, this Telugu language movie at like Austin is like a destination in one of these movies, and like they show the 360 bridge, they show the Capitol, like Lady Bird Lake. I mean, really, it kind of puts in perspective because it's like something that you might see pretty frequently, and then someone from another part of the world, it stands out to them because like, oh, that's cool, that's unique.
It's like our Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you forget about the cool things that are cool that would bring people here. And definitely, the state capitol is it's bigger than the United States Capitol. Like,
I actually didn't know.
Yeah, the Texas state capitol is bigger than the United States Capitol. There's a place called 6th Street, which it's kind of like Broadway.
36.
Yeah, kind of like Broadway, Nashville, like you're mentioning. It's
debauchery and it's fun.
It's debauchery and it's fun. Yeah. And
It's a red light district. So yeah.
Well,
it's like Bourbon Street where it's just always going.
Yeah, and it's definitely a sight to be seen. And then what else we got? I mean, we got.
If you're going for shows and stuff, there's a couple places off the top of my head, like Emos and Come and Take It Live off of Riverside if you're trying to see some shows. Or Stubbs. Stubbs has a lot of good
Stubbs
shows.
Barbecue, Mohawk.
And the barbecue is pretty top notch for sure.
Yeah, lots of, and then kind of going out further. I mean, so like our hometown, Georgetown, there's this place called Inner Space Cavern. It's this big, massive underground, like cavern system that you can go check out. That's real cool.
But if you're going to be in Georgetown, before you go there, definitely hit the square because you can walk around anywhere with a drink. So
yeah, it's one of the few places in the country,
where you can take a drink and then walk around.
You can take it to go drink and walk around the square of Georgetown, and no one will mess with you. So that's pretty cool.
I'd be alone with my thoughts and then think about maybe some sort of Edgar Allan Poe or a dark horror fantasy or something like that too.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Actually, the way your guy describing 6th Street earlier was almost like you had like a Moulin Rouge like right there on the side of the corner or something. So I wasn't sure.
No. Yeah,
all right, it's all good. Well, that sounds awesome. So maybe someday we'll try to get out to Austin, get a check out too, kind of see what happens. Okay. So I guess we'll jump into this one right here. So I guess tell us how the magic happens or what sort of gear you guys use.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to so we're sitting here in the studio. My audio interface, we have a Focusrite Scarlett 18i20. That's our interface. I mean, it's super overpowered but we have so many options. This is what we use to record. We have a Shure SM7B that we record vocals. Over to my right is the vocal booth, and then we have a cloud lifter. So that's like the chain for the vocals. We record in Studio One is our DAW, and then also I edit things in Ableton Live because I come from my electronic background. So I'm just more familiar with Ableton, and I'm able to chop up things better and do things like that. And I honestly, I use an archaic version of Ableton. I use Ableton Live 9. I know Ableton Live 12 just came out, and so I'm pretty behind on that. But a lot of like the synth sounds you hear and like the chops and reversals and things, like I make those all in Ableton. All the recordings done in Studio One. Joey, believe it or not, so this is Joey's 7th string right here. So Jackson,
yeah, it's nothing crazy. It's Jackson Dinky.
Yeah, it's when we make the biggest sounds imaginable in this.
Yeah, out of something real cheap.
Yeah, like so we just do DI, and then
we just took it up to a Polytune straight into Studio One, and then our producer Grayson is the one that does all the reamping and everything. And so as far as when it comes to album production stuff, he has like the say for the sound, if you will. But when it comes to say live settings and whatnot, I mean, so I've got a Mesa Boogie cab 4x4 with a 5153 head. That's kind of my go-to for that. But yeah, I mean, I want to get a Helix or like an Axe Effects or something like that. That way we can kind of preload all the settings that Grayson essentially does, like production wise, and then just plug it into that. So it's more exact to the actual sound of the albums, but in due time.
Yeah. And then I record the drums. I have a Roland just TD1 electric drum set over to my left. And on like, full disclosure, like, so still there's a drum performance, but it's sample replaced. Not until we have the means to have like a good drum room, a dedicated, and so all the drums I record on my electric drum kit, and so then at least there's a human performance and velocity, and then we use GGD, Get Good Drums, and so I mean, like the drum sound on our records, I mean, it sounds amazing, and but we're real excited to actually have our own kit, because I have a Pearl Forum 5-piece kit, and then our new drummer. Honestly, I'm not even exactly sure. I'm pretty sure it's Pearl as well. I need to ask him, but so we're looking forward to having the means to actually mic our own drum kit. So
that sounds pretty cool. So I guess when you guys are doing the music first, do you do it all in this studio right here? Then do you take it to a professional one? I know you mentioned Grayson earlier too. So I guess how's your process of creating the song work?
Yeah, well, as far as creating the song, so that's like a whole different beast in itself. Because so we use Guitar Pro. We have Guitar Pro 8. That's anything that we'll write, we'll just tab it out and then kind of work with it from there. But as far as like, I mean, oh man, there's so much to it. Yeah, when it comes to the creation of it all, it's, I mean, there's things that we've written that were on Guitar Pro first that then I learned to play and then we record, and then kind of vice versa. So having the ability to have the kind of duality aspect of Guitar Pro really helps a lot in a writing aspect. I mean,
yeah, and so yeah, mostly it starts with like Joey is a riff machine. He will typically, mostly, yeah, our songs start from a riff that Joey will write, and it literally happens right here in this room. he'll be sitting back here with his guitar, and he'll just play something, and he's like, "Hey, what do you think about that?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's perfect." And then we'll tab it out on Guitar Pro, and then I come from like my songwriting background. Like I have like a lot of like classical influence as well. So when it comes to harmony, we do a lot of like we'll write in a lot of our harmony, like our chords are in the minor key, but then Joey writes like real major sounding leads. And then we always got to throw in like some harmonic minor, and then even like our most recent song has natural minor, melodic minor, and harmonic minor. I mean, we're like, classical in that sense with our songwriting. It's not just like, oh, this riff is cool, bro. No, then when it comes to the actual like tension release of everything, and so then it lives on Guitar Pro for a little while, little amorphous. We're like, okay, we know this how this is gonna go. And then when it comes time to really recording it, then that's a whole nother aspect where it's like something that we might have heard on the Guitar Pro for years. When it comes time to recording, it's like, actually this feels better. I'm gonna do it this way, and then I'll write melodies and whatnot, and then whatever just naturally comes out of my voice, like when I'm singing along to it, and so it's pretty cool. It's like there's multiple. Excuse me. I thought I'd sneeze.
Hold it.
Oh, there it is. There it is. So there's multiple iterations where it's really not until the end, and then ultimately it's kind of like we mentioned Grayson. So he is one of the original members. It was really the three of us for on and off for about 10 years. Yeah. Joey, Ian, and Grayson, and Grayson has left the band creatively, but he's still our producer. And so technically, I shouldn't even say he left the band creatively, because he still does make some. Yeah, he throws some flair on it. Yeah, and then like we'll see him every once in a while, and he'll suggest X, Y, and Z, and then really we don't know what the final thing is going to sound like until he's done with it. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we write it, we record it, we send it off to him, and because we have so much rapport together, his contribution is definitely part of our sound. And so yeah, I mean, I think from start to finish, I mean, just starting from like a little riff, a noodle, then I'll songsmith it and add some chords, and then we think of lyrics, and yeah.
That's where the fun begins. So yeah,
that's right. That's right.
I guess Joey, do you do a whole lot of like finger picking? Because I know you mentioned Eddie Van Halen as like a big major influence too. So I guess.
I mean, so yeah, I do a lot of tapping stuff, of course. I've recently started trying to do more hybrid picking stuff. That's one thing that I'm not extremely proficient at. But I feel all around I'm pretty decent at most little, I don't know, styles of things. But yeah, I started off, I mean, playing acoustic, doing more classical stuff, doing full finger. And then as I progressed more into like getting into rock and roll and whatnot, is really when it just started going off, as far as like tremolo picking and getting into the more shred of it all. And then, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. So Eddie Van Halen is definitely a huge influence. And I've definitely recently actually been working a lot more on tapping style, like riffs and whatnot. So implicating like little tap harmonics here and there, just to add a little bit extra to whatever riff. So it's definitely blending more into my personality that my fingers talk with.
Yeah, that's for sure. And actually, did you say 1984 was your favorite album?
Well, so 50. So all right, Van Halen 1 and 5150, the first album with David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, I would say are the two best Van Halen albums. And I know there's the whole Van Hagar thing that people don't like or whatever, but I mean that's just personal preference. But I will say 5150 is an amazing album. And I believe that was 1986. But they came out with that Live Without a Net DVD, and I watched that thing on repeat nonstop. And so in that DVD, or well, I guess show, what was it, New Haven? Yeah, because he comes out of calls it New Halen, whatever he comes out. But that guitar is a replica, or well, my guitar is a replica of that guitar that he uses. So yeah,
I definitely agree. 5150 was.
Yeah. Say again?
I was gonna say I definitely agree. 5150 was the best of the Van Hagar. I would say 1984 got me into Van Halen, but I think my favorite one is actually Fair Warning.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, that Diver Down, Women and Children First. I feel like those don't get as much love as they should. It's always, Van Halen 1 and 2 is everybody's go-to. But I mean, I don't know. It's all personal preference, I guess.
I think it's because there was just like so many singles from like the first album that really just kind of stood out with, Right with the Devil, when you talk about love, and then you had Eruption. Mainly, it's just short, but I mean, he just went crazy with the.
You really got me, Gotta play back to back. Yeah, oh yeah.
It's a big difference to say the least, too. But yeah, so good choices. And Ian, I guess I saw you had the drumsticks right there. So what's sort of brand of your drumsticks?
Oh, okay. So I have a handful. So I was never really a Vic Firth guy until I mean, these are worn down to all heck. I only have one pair of Vic Firths. I love these. These are, man, it's so faded. I don't even remember. I think they're 7As, Vic Firth 7As. And I've been a Pro Mark guy like my whole drumming career, though. I have the Shirakashi Oak and American Hickory Pro Mark, and then I have these. Would you mind grabbing those, like the dark brown ones?
Yeah, that's what I was grabbing.
I think and so these are. I can't even remember what you call these, but it's like
the Japanese wood or whatever.
Like these are they're brown. They're like exposed, but like that. It's like these like are never gonna like really fade. I mean, these are real nice. These are Pro Mark. And then I'm wood tip or nylon tip. I do both. But yeah, I've always been a Pro Mark guy. Well, actually, originally I was a Zildjian guy. I did wax coated. And
I forgot about
when we're doing like a lot of deathcore, like some blast beats and stuff like that. And then I switched to Pro Mark, and then so yeah, right now it's mostly Pro Mark, and then these Vic Firth. It just like this pair is just so like, I mean, if you look at that stick, I mean that's like
the chunky bullet.
And I mean the tip is like gone. I mean, but I mean this is my favorite right here. So
Actually, I've been rolling with Collision drumsticks for a good while, and I have to admit they've been holding up pretty well because I have an electric drum set as well. It's
nice.
TD 25K.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's been holding up, though. I'm curious when I guess the shell of the snare is going to start breaking in because, you know what, I remember when it happened, and I was doing a drum cover for Metallica's Blackened, and it happened just at the end of the song, too, when we just had one more chorus to get through, and then it was finally at the end of the song, and the shell started to split in two. So.
Oh, no. On the Electric Kid?
On the Electric Kid, yeah.
Dang. Oh my gosh, you were going hard then, Brian. Man.
Oh yeah, actually that was from also months of abuse with blast beating because I also do like a little bit of Napalm Death.
Oh wow, okay.
And a little bit more Morbid Angel at times, but that was just mainly for fun. I'm not committed yet for doing a Morbid Angel drum cover just yet. Yeah. Even though I think Angel Disease would be good.
So you're built for speed, huh? I mean, like.
I try to. I mean, I do a lot of like 1 foot blast, to be honest. So occasionally, if my legs are not as strong, I might just do the 2 foot just to make it easy.
Dang, Brian. Okay, all right, man.
So I know me some speed. So I guess for you guys also, influenced by those groups as well.
Yeah. What kind of pedals do you have?
They're the PDPs, and they've been serving me pretty well. They have not broken in yet, and fortunately, even after blasting on my bass after Which I don't even know how long it's been. I think it's been like 4 or 5 years. It still holds up to this day, so I'm happy with that.
I absolutely need new pedals. I have 15-year-old DW7000s, chain drive, no direct, like old as hell, and so I mean, I have to pump. Like, I mean, there's really kind of like a speed limit. Like, I'm not even physically able to move them, like, I'd say faster than like 16th notes at 180 BPM. I can, because I mean, just the nature of the pedal, like I can't even do like heel toe or anything really. So these DW7000s. So really, when it comes to my double bass, I'm not even really familiar or proficient with like heel toe or swivel. I mean, I've kind of just, I guess you could say bad technique, but like it's worked for me because I have to push so hard on these old pedals. And yeah, I'd say really the fastest I can get on those pedals is if I'm doing 16th notes at 180, but then I am able to do bursts of like 30-second notes at 120. So that's like some real, but that's just like, you know, like that, like, I mean, like I can do like 8 at a time or something, but like, if I'm already doing like if I'm doing it like 120, like steady 16th notes, I'm like, all right, here I go. I'm gonna do 30 seconds. You know, like I can just do them for like 2 beats or whatever. And but yeah, really anything faster than like the 180 minus the few little bits of the 240, I'm at the mercy of my pedals. I need more sophisticated pedals to really do, because I know some he said Morbid Angel, and then I mean yeah, I mean some of those real fast like death metal bands. I mean that's like, you know, just the whole song is like, you know, 250, 260, just nothing but black beats and 30-second. I mean, unbelievable speed and precision on those. So I have a lot of respect for death metal drummers, most definitely. So
yeah, actually, I asked earlier, were you guys also influenced by Morbid Angel and some of those earlier death metal groups?
So not so, because so from just what age we were. So it was really like the deathcore, like we personally never really got into like real death metal. I mean, so okay, actually, Necrophagist, the tech death band, I got their album like when I was like 16 years old, and I was like, this is the craziest stuff. So yeah, so Necrophagist was definitely like a pure, you know, like tech death. And then in like 2006, they call it like the year of brutality, when a lot of these like deathcore bands started coming out, like As Blood Runs Black. Yeah. And they had a song, My Fears Have Become Phobias, where there's this part, like this breakdown near the end of the song where it's like quarter note equals 150 BPM, but then the drummer, he's doing 16th note triplets on the double bass, and like that was like a viral moment. Everyone's like, oh my god, the double bass. And in comparison to some like pure like death metal acts, I mean it's fast, but it's not as fast as some of those other like real like death metal bands. And but that was just kind of like the little bit of taste, because we were like metalcore kids, you know, we were, you know,
we were the other guys.
Huh?
I was gonna say we were the other guys.
Yeah, you get, yeah,
The
the other guys, yeah, and it's like, but I guess the trying to think of like some, I have big respect for you know, Archspire. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely more on like the tech death. I mean, it's real like, you know, very very technical. I mean, to be able to like for a whole song, just like that speed, it's unbelievable. And but yeah, so yeah, you guys were the real metal, and we were we were the baby's first metal. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So,
I'd say maybe the baby's after or something like that too. I guess
yeah, baby's after metal. Yeah.
Because I mean, it all started in the '90s. I mean, that's when it really took off. I mean, I know '92 was actually probably '92 or '93. I guess it depends on how you look at it history wise. Because I guess a lot of bands really like came out. It was like, holy shit, this is heavy as hell, man. And it's like it's all crazy too. I think production could have been a little bit better, but you had to make do what you could. So I guess talk about this one right here. I guess what inspires your lyrical content for each one of your songs?
Oh, okay.
So I guess to dig into that. So we are also a concept band. So we kind of have this huge story that's going between all of the albums that we have lined up. Where the first album, for instance, there are 7 songs. Each song is about a different stage of change in the upward spiral of change. Every song goes into the next song. The last song does an ode to all the other songs before going into the outro, which bleeds back into the first song in what we call the reflection section. So based on that, that was kind of what inspired all of the lyrical content for that, was each stage of change. And so being a continuous album that you can play on repeat, making that it's whole. I don't know how to explain it really.
Yeah. So our lyrical content, like Joe's talking about, so like the first album, the songs were named before really we had lyrics, and so two of the most original, like the way back like 2010, our there's 2 songs, one called Acceptance and the other one called Departure. And Departure is like our biggest song. It's our most popular. Any fan we talk to, that is the song. Like they love Departure. And so when those songs were originally named, I mean, I don't even remember how it happened. It was just like, oh, that's Acceptance, that's Departure. So then when it came time to actually fully realize these songs and record them, come back essentially 10 years later as adults to finish these songs. Yeah, like Joe's talking about like the upward spiral change. So it's like, I remember sitting there and I was like, okay, this song's called Acceptance and this song's called Departure. I'm like, okay. So I started thinking about like, the stages of grief, or like, you have bargaining and, whatever, and then acceptance finally. And so I came across just like this image of like, it was like the 7 steps of change, because we had this idea that there's gonna be 7 songs. And so there's like it was just like these shapes and patterns, like just kind of help. It's like, if you can give me a box to work in, I will be so creative. It's like, if I have some sort of parameters that I have to follow, I will do the best to make the most creative thing possible. And so starting from this concept, I was like, okay, so we have the pre-contemplation, the contemplation, the preparation, the action, the maintenance. There's always the threat of relapse, and then you learn from each relapse and start again. So from this image I saw, our intro song, we renamed it, and it was called All of This Will Die With Me. And the lyrical content became about, no perception of that there's a problem. It's like the whole song is this big F you, just like, it's like, F you pay me, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, I don't give a rat's ass. And then it's like, okay, here's our song Acceptance. And this song can actually be about accepting, okay, maybe there is a problem here. Then it perfectly, we were able to put in our song The Heart Grows Fonder. And we more so mean it like the heart as in like your spirit, like you want to do better and be a better person. And so like your heart is growing fonder. And then the fan favorite Departure became the action. It's like you're departing. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna live this new life, et cetera, et cetera. And then we had a song called "A Distant Existence," which I used to think it was like about aliens or something when we named it, and but then we contextualized it. It was about a far off, like who you are in the future, that distant existence, and so that was the maintenance stage, and then we just literally wrote a song called "Relapse," and it's like it's like heavy, and we're like, okay, boom, we have a song called "Relapse." And then we brought it all together with the song called "Woven" at the end. Everything's all woven together. And yeah. And so a lot of that first album, the lyrical content is identifying like a problem, like an addiction, a toxic relationship, whatever it is. It could be on a grand scale. It could be pollution or more personal or, whatever. And we try to keep our lyrics ambiguous enough to where they can connect with anybody. And so most definitely that first album is, it was pretty amazing how it all kind of,
everything just fell into place, like kind of perfectly. It was like, oh man, this is so great.
I mean, hey, it all worked out in the end. That's pretty much all that matters. I always like to say it wove together and it made a nice, perfect album. So there you go. Actually, that's pretty intense too, I guess. Are you guys thinking of like sticking with a concept album going forward, I guess, with this upcoming one and future releases?
Yeah. And I guess without revealing too much with those, definitely the story, there is like, so I'm sorry, Brett. So the question was like moving forward, like the album we're working on right now and the next one and everything in the future, like,
is it going to be like a different concept? Like maybe kind of like, I was thinking like a Odysseus one, for instance, like too. Like
so canonically, we have our story that we're going to do. Without trying to reveal too much of what the future may hold, I will say we are recording the second album of a trilogy.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
And then, so yes, this whole trilogy is essentially one continuous story. So yeah, surprise, there's going to be a third album too.
Yeah. And so it's like kind of like we kind of retroactively, because it was after the success of the first album, because we were we had friends and people who knew about us, and then we from our day jobs and just kind of being social creatures, like Joey's like famous around town, and we got a bunch of people to show up to our album release party, and then suddenly we're like a relevant band again. And we consistently have monthly listeners and people, like checking us out and like subscribing, and like more and more people talking about us. And forgive me. So where I'm going with that is, after the success of the first album is really where we started to kind of think, okay, what is the future? Because we weren't really gonna. The first album was kind of be like our swan song. Like we just wanted to say that we were able to do this as adults, come back and do this. But then one night, Joey and I kind of mapped out the whole future of everything, and
we got a little crazy with it.
And so we're kind of going off the coattails of the first album. We kind of created this whole story, and we're kind of retroactively like kind of we're like, okay, well, this was this was this, and we can tell you, Brian, this next album and the album after, we are going places. I mean, it is something else, man. And so it is something to really be excited about. I mean, we are so proud, and just the lyrics and everything about it. I mean, because we still want it to be a surprise, and we can't reveal everything. So but
I mean, as great as we think the first album was, Signatures, this next album is going to be
like
at least 2.5 times as good.
Yeah, blows it out of the water. Yeah.
The head explodes and do like the whole stuff there too. Yeah. So, all right, I'll hold you to it there too. So good luck there, mates. All right. So I guess In terms of personal lives too, outside of music, do you guys also work like a main job as well to help maybe finance this little project you got going on?
Yeah,
100%.
So we are both wine sommeliers for the largest indoor water park resort in the country, Kalahari. We work at their steakhouse. We do a lot of like private dining events and stuff like that. They actually paid for us to become wine sommeliers.
Yeah.
So that is our day job, and that is what funds the project, if you will.
Yeah.
Hopefully, in a few years, though, we won't have to do that.
Yeah, well, we kind of have like a 5-year. We have 5-year plan, 10-year plan. We have a lot of year plans. But one of my personal plans is to be able to not have a day job. It's 2024. In about 4.5 years is my plan to no longer have a day job, and so I'm making steps to get to that point. By the end of 2028, I want to be able to 100% say that, like, just my music and my art and all my other things that I can control, I'm fully making a living off of. But yeah, so not only are we in a band together and we're best bros, we also work together, and we've worked a lot of same places.
Yeah.
And our company, shout out
The band.
shout out Kalahari.
The pen is mightier than the sword, as they would say.
Yeah.
They really see it too well, unfortunately. So
That's where we had our first album listening event, was at the Kalahari Resort, because it's also a convention center, and it was awesome. They helped us out a whole lot, and it really was a destination, because like friends and family came. They could check out the fact that we had our album release party at a resort, and it was awesome. So yeah, we really shout out to our day job. They've helped support us, in a regard. So
you guys do any cooking, or are you doing like a catering sort of service?
So
you kind of described the job too. I wasn't sure how it really plays out.
So we're like servers. We're just glorified servers. We're like sommelier, like we're like wine stewards. Have like a level of knowledge with wine, and then but mostly at the end of the day, we're glorified servers. You know what I mean? We're like,
I mean, there's say there's private dining events or something that we're doing, some private thing, and then each course has like a different wine pairing or something like that. We'll essentially be like, oh, this is going to pair because of this and that, whatever. So
yeah, and so we don't do any cooking, but we do serving and wine presentations and things like that, and so.
I actually work in a local family joint as my second job, so that's why I was curious.
Oh, nice.
So, all right. Actually, I did stay in a Kalahari because there was one up at Cedar Point there, and
okay, in Poconos Mountains, right?
Something like that. I'm not too sure. It was just there. It was a couple of miles from the park. That's all that mattered. It was a good hotel.
Yeah. Okay, I bet.
I can't remember how long ago that was. I think that was maybe high school or something like that. So regardless, still hell of a nice resort nonetheless. So that's pretty cool. So I guess what other challenges do you guys face? Do you guys face more time constraints, or is it more of marketing and finding a venue to play at?
I mean, I guess a little bit of both.
Sorry, I think one of our biggest challenges was finding members.
Well,
that has been,
to be able to play live.
To be able to play live, because we've full disclosure, Brian. I mean, we've kind of been a studio band for a long time. I mean, we technically performed live on November 11th, 2022, but not really. We kind of karaoke sang to our recordings, because it was a listening party, because we made a whole lyric video, like a movie, and like to tell the whole story. And by like the third time we showed it that night, after a couple drinks in us, we grabbed some wireless microphones and went on stage, and we were just singing along.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was our most recent show. And then before that, I mean, it was like 10 years ago was our last live performance.
Well, over 13 somewhere around there.
Yeah. And because Joey and I are so driven and like want to do this, and so we're so grateful that we have these other guys now who are like about us, and so I'd say that has been our biggest challenge, is just finding someone who
Is dedicated.
and is excited about the music as we are, and I think we've finally found that, and so now is to fully answer the question. I mean, the time constraints we set for ourselves is what keeps us dedicated and motivated.
If we didn't, then we would just be another 10 years before we dropped an album.
And we definitely have. I think we definitely have a good grasp on where we're going, and so it's like it's
realistic expectations too.
Yeah,
like we're not like trying to rush anything. It's an ample amount of time to get what we want done within a specific amount of time, without it like being rushed and it not being to the level that we want it to be at and whatnot. So I think we've done good as far as time constraints go.
Yeah, it's like the obstacle is the way.
Yeah, it's like we are always in a war against time.
Yeah, we're literally always in a war against time. You know what I mean? So.
Pun intended. Yeah, so I can see why. Actually, that's what I thought originally the name came from. I didn't know it was actually in the Book of Troy, or the Fall of Troy that you were talking about earlier too. So I feel like that's pretty cool. So I can see why. There's always something cool when you learn something about from ancient Greece, or I guess wherever Troy was. I forget which island was that based on, because was that part of Greece at the time?
I think so. Yeah, or it was like a city-state of Greece. Like there's Troy and Sparta, and so that math rock band, the Fall of Troy. I remember reading on Wikipedia that they got their name from like a history textbook, and then I was like, I'm gonna do the same thing as Fall of Troy did, and then and in my literature book, I'm trying to remember why it was called The War Against Time, like the section, because like it was literature, so it was like the history of literature. And right in the middle of the book, it said Section 2, The War Against Time. I was like, there it is, the war against time, baby. So
every day is a battle. That's what I like to say too. So
that's right.
Actually, funny enough, after when we were talking about twat earlier, I actually remember a little video I was watching, because for some reason I like to see like do stupid shit in terms of like motorcycle accidents or something like that too.
Yeah.
I think one happened in the UK. I don't know if it was a motorcycle or it was like one of those enhanced mopeds or whatever. But you just see like one guy, he's just filming, this guy just comes flying down, he just crashes his vehicle, like motorcycle vehicle, whatever. You just hear the guy go, "You fucking twat." So,
you fucking twat.
Yeah, it was something like that too. So, but nonetheless, it's a clever name nonetheless. So every day is a battle.
We had shirts at one point that said like the I Heart Twat, like the I Heart New York thing.
Yeah, I Heart Twat. Yeah.
Hey, there's a merch idea. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess, do you guys sell your own merch? I guess. So what else do you do to try to promote the name?
Yeah, we do. We have signed posters for the first album, and then we do have some shirts. And then coming November this year, we'll have shirts for the new album cycle, posters for the new album cycle. Yeah. And then eventually we will have physical media as well, because I mean, I know streaming and everything, but we do definitely think and take in consideration the physical media aspect of it as well. So we will have vinyl and even CD.
Yeah, vinyls and CDs. We'll do bundle packages and whatnot with shirt combos and all that. So
are CDs making a comeback? Are they kind of making a comeback like what vinyl's doing right now? Because I'm actually curious who still buys CDs.
Kind of, sorta. I mean, cars nowadays, if you buy a new car, it doesn't have a CD player, which is kind of ridiculous. But it is slowly coming back, kind of like how vinyls are. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna ever get as big as like the vinyl comeback does. But I do know a lot of people personally that they just buy CDs. Like that's their thing. It's how they help support bands, whatever. Like if I go to a show, Like I recently, a couple of years ago, I went to go see Novelist. It was on their like first U.S. tour or whatever, and I bought a CD from them because I mean, gotta support.
Yeah. And something I've seen is pretty cool. It's like like the chassis of like a like tape, like old school tape. But it's not a tape, but it folds out. It's a USB drive.
Yeah.
And so a lot of cars, have like a USB drive. And so it's branded. It has like the artist name. It looks like an old school tape player, like tape. But no, it's just it's a USB drive that comes out. And then there, boom, you own physical media to, in a modern car, just, and then, there's no worrying about streaming or the internet, like, full, and honestly, probably, better quality, uncompressed for streaming, as good, high quality, file you can get. And so we have ideas about that too. And, so just any way for people to be able to own our content without it, without like an internet connection, et cetera, et cetera. So
that's pretty cool. I didn't actually know about that, but it sounds like that's the new CD or tape recorder these days. Just plug it right into. I think I remember we used to have like things you used to plug into the cigarette lighter, for instance. And that's what gave you the power and everything too. So you can say, "What? Hey, somehow it makes a comeback, or it evolves." In this case, evolves into something new. So. Actually, I was leading into this question right here, but I guess first of all, what social media are you guys on so people can check out your music?
So we're on Facebook, YouTube, and
Instagram. We have a Twitter as well. We haven't really posted anything on our Twitter pretty much ever. But we got one. It's there. Yeah. That's the one thing we're kind of lacking on is our social media presence. But I mean, we're, across the board, we're on all the platforms.
And I don't know if I told you, I just recently made a TikTok as well. Yeah. And so, we gotta, you'll definitely be seeing, we're going to be making TikToks and Reels, with our music, very soon. We need maybe someone who's more, skilled in doing that to help us do that. And, but yeah, most definitely. And so we're most active probably on Facebook and then YouTube, because YouTube you can post in the community. There's like, you can actually make posts now on YouTube. That's probably been a feature for, I guess, years now. But the community aspect of YouTube. The War Against Time, we're just at the War Against Time on YouTube, not the War Against Time official. That is the War Against Time. But when you search the War Against Time on YouTube, we are the number one thing. It says musical artist, the War Against Time, because we have a official YouTube artist channel. We have a little like musical note. And so I'd say YouTube and Facebook, the War Against Time.
Are you guys part of the group on Facebook, Band Together?
Band Together?
No, I don't believe so.
No, we absolutely could be. Is that?
That's where you can promote your music as well too.
Send us a link to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Band Together.
Yeah, it was actually a group that Boxing Sticks had put together, and I was trying to remember. That's where I found out about you guys. It was either that, or it was just like one of those things like that pop up when you like befriend or like somebody's page, and they'll give you like suggestions for like somebody else. I think I saw yours.
I know it happened around the time that we did a sponsored ad for Initiate Thumbs. So I don't know if that was kind of within the same relation of like how it happened, like, clicking on the ad or something like that. But it was around that time.
Something like that. I think that's how I found out about you guys. I figured, more of a shot. Well, I don't think I get too many progressive guys yet.
Well, I'm glad we're making reach, right?
Yeah, man, we really appreciate that you're able to find us. And so you heard, you heard Initiate Thumps? Is that because we're thinking the one with the cherry blossom tree?
No, like I said, the disfigured face or something. Because
the disfigured face. Yeah.
I couldn't make it out because I feel like, is that like some sort of burnt up face or something, or something that was just dyed red? I don't know. But yeah, it was Initiate Thumps. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's also a cool little side note. All of our songs have their own art piece too.
Yes. It's like every song is like a single. The average runtime of every one of our songs is 5 minutes, and so we have Initiate Thumps is now officially our longest song at 6:28, and we even took into consideration on a CD or vinyl pressing there'd be 2 seconds of silence at the beginning for the needle or for the laser, and so technically Initiate Thumps is 6.5 minutes long, and that is our longest song. We will definitely have ones longer than that, but so it's pretty exciting. So yeah, we like making long songs. We have a lot to say.
Yeah, we need to get the message out there, so that's what we got to
right.
do. Yeah. So actually, I'll send you a link first for the Band Together group, but it was actually into this question right here, I guess. What advice would you give to other musicians out there who are perhaps trying to work their way up to the top or something like that too?
Don't stop.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah. And another thing is you will spend your whole life waiting for perfect weather. That when someone told me that, it's influenced so many, because it's like, oh well, maybe when I get this level of skill, or when I finally get this gear, when I finally do this, it will, no, you will spend your whole life waiting for perfect weather. It's like, even if things aren't perfect, and you feel like you just gotta just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. Like, Joey and I are so like about this, and it's like you gotta just like believe in yourself and be encouraged. And actually, I don't think I told you this. I heard about one of our big fans. We used to work with. He loves Departure. Chef Eddie.
Yeah.
I spoke to him briefly on the phone.
Oh, nice.
He told me that he at his new job he works with like this younger kid who's he's like 20 years old, who said he wanted to be a musician. Our fan told us that he showed this younger kid our music and told him how, these guys are just doing it, man. They're just doing it. They're independent. They're just doing it. And supposedly that inspired this kid, and he quit his day job to go pursue music 100%.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, so we have vicariously influenced someone, and I'd love to meet whoever this musician is. And but I was told that Joey and I's our goal to achieve our goal has influenced somebody already, like literally. So
That's good. Even though I don't think I would have encouraged him to quit his job, to be honest.
Well, yeah. Don't do that yet. Don't quit your day job.
Also, that is awesome.
Yeah.
You got to at least make some money somehow, because it takes forever just trying to do it in the musician world. So that's fair enough too. But congratulations. That's very good to hear. That's pretty much the biggest achievement, I think. Everyone, and like I said, the Band Together group is actually a bunch of indie artists as well too. So that's what we're all doing. We're all helping each other out and hoping in some way we influence people to listen to our music and then maybe pursue something that they are passionate about. So
yeah. Okay, cool.
So Joey and Ian, we appreciate the questions here pretty good. So I guess we'll jump into the phone ones right now. So you all ready?
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
All right. So start with the first one right here. Joey, what do you consider is your favorite food?
Ooh, man. So I'd probably have to go with Asian food for sure. It's definitely, I am part Vietnamese, so it is kind of burned into my genes, but I do love Asian food. Second would have to be Italian. You can't go wrong with pasta. I'm a big carb guy for sure.
I was gonna say, man, actually, the last few interviews, everybody's had some sort of Asian food, whether it was like Thai or just straight Chinese food, for instance, too.
Yeah,
everybody's got.
I mean, can't go wrong with all of it. It's all so good.
Yeah.
That's true. Right. And Ian?
My favorite food.
Bangers and mash.
I would say Mexican. I mean, the combination of just rice, pico, like any sort of taco, cilantro, onions,
Some beauty tacos.
like I love like Mexican street tacos, just any sort of. I definitely have to say Mexican, like 100%, like 1,000%. And then recently, I've been eating a lot of because we have a lot of international friends, and I've been eating a lot of Indian food almost like every day. Like very frequently, I've been eating Indian food and then Turkish food as well. And yeah, international, some international food going on. So
We import a bunch of international food, so yeah, I can see why. All right, good choices. Next one right here. What would you consider has been your favorite movie?
Man, see that's a hard one. I don't know if I really have like an all-time favorite movie. I definitely I'm just a big comedy goofball, so a lot of the Happy Madison productions and whatnot. I don't know. I mean, I literally watched Happy Gilmore yesterday, so I mean, all the stupid funny stuff, a lot of Jim Carrey things. That's totally up my alley. But yeah, I don't think I could land on just like one solid movie as like my all time.
yeah, I gotta say the most quotable movie. My brother and I.
Oh, Kung Pao.
Kung Pao.
Okay, yeah,
Kung
yeah.
Pao
Actually, that is the one. Yeah.
Kung Pao and the Fist. I mean, just watching that at a young, impressionable age.
Yeah, the entire movie's quotes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that. Yeah, I'd have to say Kung Pao, Enter the Fist, and then I really like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Um, and then most recently, I mean, Dune Part 2. That was amazing, man. That was, and then I mean, it might be too early to say if that's like a favorite, but I mean, Dune Part 2. That was. I don't know if you've seen that, Brian. That was awesome, man.
I think my dad actually read the books. I think that was probably way back in the day because I don't know if it's like split into like a trilogy or where it's like one giant book and then it's just splitting into like 3 movies. I think that's a story. I'm not too sure, but no, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm pretty boring. In fact, I really not had time to like really watch any sort of movies or let alone any TV shows that have been coming out, whether it's on Apple, Netflix, Hulu, or whatever. So try to take to say the least.
Yeah, hopefully you find some time to check out some stuff. So, but yeah.
Well, that's hopefully we're getting the YouTube and podcast thing rolling, so I can at least enjoy my afternoon sleeping in, and then go just pop in and watch a TV show or a movie at some point. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. And I 100%. We totally support you, man. We totally see your you keep gaining a bigger and bigger audience, and yeah, 100%, man. We totally support you, man, and believe in you, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. All right. The next fun questions right here. First off, do you guys drink by any chance?
Yes.
I guess what would you say is your favorite alcoholic drink and non-alcoholic drink?
Yeah, and so favorite drink or non-alcoholic drink?
Alcoholic and non-alcoholic.
Old fashions for sure. Definitely up there.
Yeah.
As far as the other than that, I like a cold beer, man. Give me a Budweiser any day of the week.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I can't okay, my favorite drink is water. I love water. I mean, I drink a gallon every day. Oh, and then coffee. I love coffee. And like, I'll take it
2 pots a day.
Yeah, I'll take it black or just like a little dash of cream. I don't add sugar or anything. But if I'm feeling like kind of fancy, like a white mocha or something like that. And then alcoholic drinks. For a while, yeah, I was doing old fashions for a while, and then I just went to just straight bourbon, like on ice. But I still I love like a dark beer, like a Guinness, like a stout or a porter. Yeah, and then I get down with some White Claw or some Truly. I don't care. I mean, whatever. Yeah, it's refreshing. I mean, yeah, it's nice and crisp. It's light. I don't feel like crap afterwards.
Yeah, so. We'll say after 6 beers. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, non-alcoholic though, Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is the game over winner for me. Yeah, I can't get enough of it.
Regular or Baja Blast?
Oh, I mean, if you go to Taco Bell, you gotta get Baja Blast.
Baja Blast from the fountain.
I know they sold it in cans for a little while. I don't know if that's a thing that they're continuing to do, but it doesn't taste the same.
The fountain
it's got to be from the fountain.
Yeah.
If you're doing Baja Blast for sure.
You see him under the fountain, he's like,
yeah.
press the button and have it continuous. So I can see that. And I know it's kind of funny earlier, but I always like to ask first because I know some people that I've interviewed who had been raging alcoholics and they've at least turned their life around and got better. So that's why I asked first too. So it's all good.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. For the last fun questions, what would you consider is currently your favorite song or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
Ooh, man. Okay. You go first? You go first.
Okay. All right. So,
Ladies first.
A song. So I've really been jamming. It's called "Symptom of Life" by Willow. Like literally, like Jaden and like Willow Smith, like Will Smith's daughter. But I mean, as an artist, I mean, she has really she's incredible. And so her song "Symptom of Life," real progressive, like similarly, like the verses are like the time signature keeps changing, but then the chorus is in 4/4. And so I've been listening to that like nonstop. "Symptom of Life" by Willow. And then favorite songs of all time, I'd have to say there's this one song called "Smoke and Retribution" by I'd say "Smoke and Retribution" by Flume. I mentioned Flume earlier. That's featuring the singer Kuchka, and then one of my favorite rappers, Vince Staples. That song is forever one of my favorites. And then really, I listen to a lot of our music. I love our music. Yeah, I mean, like I've been listening to Initiate Thumps like crazy. I'm kind of almost sick of it. Like I need like a break. But I've listened to Initiate Thumps maybe like 50 times. I just like that third chorus, the crowd chorus. I mean, like that just like I love it. And yeah, I mean, I'd say Initiate Thumps, "Symptom of Life," and then maybe "Smoke and Retribution," and then kind of in the progressive vein, "Trains" by Porcupine Tree, the progressive rock band Porcupine Tree. Their song "Trains" is one of my most favorite of all time. And then when it comes to, like Veil of Maya, like probably their song
Double Speak or what?
Double Speak.
Yeah.
Double Speak off of False Idol. That is one of my favorites. And then man, I'm sorry, I have so many, Brian. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
It's supposed to be one, yeah.
On that same vein, for me, I have been listening to Veil of Maya's new album, Mother, a lot. Their song "Reconnect" has been like every time I get in the car, that's what I'm putting on first. It's so crazy. It's just really melodic, really odd time signatures. It I don't know. It pushes and pulls very. It feels organic, but it's just really interesting the way that it goes. I don't know. It. Other than that, I mean, shoot, all time, I'd probably have to say 5150 by Van Halen. That is the best for sure. I've been listening to a lot of After the Burial recently.
Okay.
Been getting into some of their older stuff, like the In Dreams album, like Promises Kept.
Yeah.
That's a great song. But I mean, yeah. So that's gonna be like my three. Like my all time is 5150, and then I've been jamming Reconnect a lot, and then a lot of After the Burials, kind of older stuff, the deep cuts, if you will, because I've seen them live a lot. They don't ever play anything off of the In Dreams album, but
Actually, I was gonna say I remember "Lost in the Static" was a good one from.
Oh
After
yeah,
the Burial.
Lost in the Static is good. I mean, Wolf Among Ravens is a really good one. Neo Soul though, that one's
So chunky. What's the one? Breadcrumbs and White Stones.
Yeah,
that one's good. Yeah, and then the final song on In Dreams, Encased in Ice, has such an atonal, like the solo at the end of that one is so, like it's so bad it's good. No, but it's like this atonal purpose, like it's so good. It's so good.
All right, good choices. All right. So, Ian and Joey, we're down to the last question right now, and boy, we talked for almost a good hour and 40 minutes. But I guess
it's been a good conversation. Yeah, it's been great, man.
Yep. Actually, do you have any questions for me, or any final words you want to say before we jump into the final question?
Yeah. So, most of the communication has been between you and Joey, and like we both have access to the account. So, what is the name of your podcast?
It's All Music Matters, and that. So I put a little Pittsburgh slang at the end of it too. So it's and dash or and apostrophe at. You know, us Pittsburghers, we like to say throw it and that at the end for some reason.
All music and that.
No, all music matters and that.
Oh, all music matters and that.
Yeah.
Okay. Bet.
So.
And yeah, and then what are your favorite like bands? Like what is like your all-time favorite artists, bands? I mean, I know we talked about a little bit of Morbid Angel and
there's more of a respect for Morbid Angel too. I wouldn't list them like in my top 10, but if you're asking for top 10 too, it actually started with Dying Fetus. That was actually the band that got me into.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay.
That got me into death metal, yeah. So, and then their counterpart, because the bassist and maybe the frontman, I'm not too sure, but Jason Neferton, he went off from Dying Fetus and formed Misery Index. So that's number two. I'm pretty torn between either Nile or Between the Buried and Me for number 3. They're both pretty good. I've listened to each one of their albums during a long car ride. So 3 or 4, give or take, whatever happens there. 5 would be Bolt Thrower. See, Napalm Death, starting creeping in there. I'll give them number 6. Then I got Decapitated at number 7. I know. I'm trying to remember all the bands I listened to. Like,
yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Boy, that gets a little tricky when you start getting the last 3 right there. Shoot, that's the thing. I would say I've actually recently started getting to one of my friends, Storm Kingdom. So
Storm Kingdom, okay.
He's actually out of Florida too, and I've done a couple of collabs with him. And then Waiting at the Bridge is actually out of the state of Texas as well. So I got a couple indie artists who are good friends of mine that I've collaborated with. So we got
cool.
I'm not too sure. I guess Morbid Angel would kind of throw in maybe number 10 there, because I remember jamming a little bit with I actually did Where Does Slime Live actually as one of my drum covers. So
okay, cool, man. Okay, so real kind of like old school death, brutal death, tech death, some and then progressive and okay, yeah. So we're kind of
actually I forgot about Decrepit Birth. That's right, Decrepit Birth was kind of in that mix too.
Okay, bet. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you're a real death metal guy. Yeah,
pretty much.
Tech death, prog death, yeah, everything. Yeah.
I would say I've tried like the black metal stuff. I mean, I'm okay with like maybe the Americanized sort of versions. I don't know. I couldn't really get into like the Scandinavian ones. Maybe a little Behemoth every now and again, but
yeah, Behemoth is good. But yeah, I agree with that. Kind of just in spurts. I can't just go full all day to it.
Yeah, it's like I like I do like the mix of screaming and singing. I mean, if the song's purpose is to be like on an album, if it's like the heavy song, well, like Indignation, I'm not on it at all. Like that's like our straight, like that's just straight Joey vocals, like because there's no room for it. It's only it's under 3 minutes long, and it's just heavy to the point breakdowns, and then blast beat sections, and but definitely if there's like choruses and stuff, like I definitely like a little bit of clean singing in there too. You know what I mean? So
actually, I forgot to mention Cattle Decapitation and then Immolation. Those are the bands I listened to a good bit.
Okay, Cattle Decapitation and Immolation. Yeah. Cattle Decap. They're I don't know if they've had different drummers, but man, I remember like first learning about gravity blasts and watching the cattle decap drummer. I mean, unbelievable, bro. Like
There was that, and I know John Longstrife from Origin as well is another one who does gravity blast pretty well.
yeah,
It's a drum. It's pretty much a drum fill or drum roll with just one hand. That's really how I describe it.
yes. And in our song Departure, there I kind of actually did a kind of an ode to Gravity Blast. It's a real melodic, progressive rock, metalcore song. But there's this fill where like, because where my right hand is, I do a little, and then like my left hand, I'm like hitting some toms, and then it just felt natural. I wanted to hit the hi hat, but I wanted to do a snare roll, and I didn't know what to do, so I was just like, why not both? Like, yeah, and it's just for 2 beats. It's just open hi hat and then 8 16th notes, and there's kind of a gravity blast. Kind of a gravity blast in our song Departure. Kind of. You have to listen for it. It's in one part. So.
All right, sounds good. I guess was there anything else? I don't know if you guys are getting calls from somebody else.
No, it's a timer, and I can't turn it off. It just keeps going like 9 minutes down the road. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all good. I guess, did you have anything else, or is it okay we jump to the final question?
Yeah, we can jump to the final question. Yeah.
All right. So you guys might have harped on it a little bit too, but here's how it goes. Given what COVID has done, obviously some musicians and people, they've been impacted maybe even before COVID or whether like during it or whatever, but what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in the post-COVID world?
Okay. Don't let people bring you down. I mean, there's haters everywhere that no matter what it is, whether or not they're trolling on your music or whatever, or, just don't let it get to you. I know a lot of people will say, oh, don't read the comment sections on your videos type stuff. But I mean, do or don't, just don't let people bring you down. Keep doing what you love to do. And eventually you will have something extremely worthwhile to show for it.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like COVID happened. It was this really traumatic, extremely traumatic experience for the entire world. And, the reality is it's like things will never be back to normal. It's like this is a post-COVID world that we're living in, and just the you got to turn stumbling blocks into stepping stones, and it's like it's like this happened. We have to acknowledge this happened, and it's like basically, we got to learn from each relapse and start again. It's like this, life is just this continuous ebb and flow, this upward spiral, and, things will happen, COVID, these global things will happen, or personal things will happen. And it's like, you kind of pick up the pieces and you start again. And it's like going from what Joey said, don't stop, and it's, we're just, we're Sisyphus pushing the stone up the hill, and then it rolls back down, and then we push back up the hill, and like, whatever little things are going to happen on the way, it's just like, the hope is, I think the statistic is like it's a 1 in something trillion chance that we're even alive, that we even get to experience reality. When it comes to sperm cells and the egg. That's for that kind of stuff. Because it's like the fact that you're even alive right now is amazing. And so yeah, just it's like it's like we're here right now, and we got to remember that we're mortal, and we're not going to be here forever. So it's like anything you want to do it right now. Like Shia LaBeouf said years ago or whatever, just do it, do it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you gotta just do it, man. Just full send, so.
Spoke like a bunch of true prodigies. All right. So, all right. So Joey, we reached the end of my podcast right now. Boy, oh boy, do we talk for a good bit. So I guess, do you have any music promotions you want to do right now, or any sort of things you want to do for the fans? Shout outs or anything?
Go check out Initiate Thumps right now on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you got streaming on YouTube. We have a music video that we're going to be releasing for that song sometime in the next couple months.
Maybe in the next month, hopefully.
And then Terra Fracture, the next single dropping is May 8th?
May 10th.
May 10th.
Yeah. So next song coming out is called Terra Fracture. It's very different from Initiate Thumbs. It's heavy, really crazy stuff. It's like industrial and heavy, and then also kind of mixes like trap, like big like 808 sub bass and like little electronic hi-hats, and then the ending of that song is this insane polyrhythmic cacophony of just get ready for Terra Fracture. I mean, it's going to be
there's a Richter scale at the end, and we do a 4/5/6/7/8 polyrhythm with it, and so it's pretty awesome. Be prepared for that.
Yeah, it's wild. So
strap yourself in, folks. It's going to be a wild ride, as we like to say.
I mean,
right. And I guess I know you mentioned about your social media earlier, so just for the audience sake, can you just list what social media and streaming you're all on so people can check you out?
Yes. So we are The War Against Time. Again, there is another The War Against Time, but typically when you search us, you will find us. Look for our album. Our album's called Signatures. Then we have an instrumental version and a remix version. Our most recent release is called Initiate Thumbs. So Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, any way you stream music, we're on there. The War Against Time. Look for Initiate Thumbs is the newest song. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and
Twitter and TikTok.
And so search The War Against Time, and definitely a good way to find that you're looking at the right one is the name of the albums, and so just we are at The War Against Time on YouTube. I believe on Facebook we are just The War Against Time, and then on Instagram we are The War Against Time Official. So, and then it kind of gets confusing because the other The War Against Time is The War Against Time Official on YouTube. And Brian, in your power, if you're able to maybe reach out to other The War Against Time in Greenville, South Carolina, and if you can arrange like a parlay between us, and like we can kind of like decide who's going to do what, and so, and shout out the War Against Time. I mean, more power to you, my friend. We'd love to hear from you. We can make sure there's no more confusion, because I imagine he has confusion with trying to tell people how to find him, and then they find us instead, or vice versa. So anyway.
Yeah, I can see why too. I can see what happens, but fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. So, and I guess, do you guys use DistroKid to kind of distribute your music and everything?
We use TuneCore.
TuneCore. Okay. All right, fair enough too. So everyone, my guest today was Joey and Ian, Halen from Georgetown, Texas, close to Austin, Texas. And these guys are part of the group, The War Against Time. I know we can list official, but maybe whoever came first. Let's see what happens. One of The War Against Times. There we go, too. Maybe the good-looking War Against Times. There we go. The good-looking ones. So you should go check them out on the socials. Go check them out on the streaming platforms and everything, too. Go help these guys out. These guys are doing partners out in the world. Good luck with whatever shows you got going on, too. Hopefully, I guess, does your big-ass calendar have, like, any shows you guys got in mind?
November 8th, for sure, we have a show happening, and then the goal would be maybe one or two in October leading up to our November 8th show. But our November 8th show is going to be huge. It's going to be happening in probably Round Rock, Texas, somewhere, either, Austin, Pflugerville, Round Rock, Georgetown, somewhere in there. And, but yeah, November 8th of this year, album release party. We're having a big show. And, so most definitely that's the only way we lined up this year, but, keep an eye out. So.
All right. You're from Ian right here too. So Joey and Ian, I want to thank you again so much again for coming on. You all stay safe. Rock on. Stay tuned, y'all.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you so much,
Brian.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Adios.